Hello everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart84, and you probably saw my video 2 or 3 days ago whereby I unboxed some tropical and rare fruits. This one is an Indian jujube, also probably known as Thai jujube. This should be off the tropical evergreen. This is not the Chinese jujube. Now I think this will be Zizyphus Mauritiana, whereas the Chinese jujubes, which are also known as Chinese dates because they dry them, is Zizyphus jujube, and these are on the whole much larger than the regular jujubes, although I think there are some probably some slightly larger ones. But the main difference between the species is this is a tropical evergreen, whereas the Chinese date, the standard jujube, is a deciduous tree that's very hardy and will certainly take down to at least -20 or -25 centigrade, and I have a couple of them outside. The downside of the Chinese date or standard jujube is actually it's quite hard to fruit them here, because you do need quite a decent warm summer and they need to be really planted in ground. I've got them in large containers at the moment and they aren't fruiting for me, so this is quite a substantial size fruit. It's starting to discolour on the outside now. The Chinese ones get quite noticeable brown blotches on them when they're ripening, and you can eat them anywhere between the sort of green stage to just with blotches on to even dark brown. These I think react slightly differently, and this is more likely to be simple aging or deterioration of the fruit. So what I'm going to do is cut this open, have a taste and see if it's got any sweetness, and also see if it's got a seed inside. So let me flip the camera around and we'll see what we can find out. Okay, so here we are back again. You can see the sort of size of the fruit here. Let's cut it in half and see what the inside looks like. The stones or seeds in them are in a very hard shell, so there's no real risk of damaging the seed in any way. I'm not going to be able to cut through it. Let's see if I can twist it in half. And now, interestingly enough, this one hasn't got, having said they have very hard stones, this one has actually broken in half very easily, but there is no viable seed in it. It'll be interesting to see if the others have any or not. So that was interesting, because I was expecting to see a viable seed in it. So let's see what this is like. Now these tend to have a sort of the consistency of a sort of a crispy apple, and normally they've got quite a good level of sweetness. Strangely enough, it's almost got an apple taste to it. Sweetness level quite low, but it's not sour or tart in any way. It still has some sweetness. I suppose it's a bit like eating excuse me, a slightly underripe apple. It's not as hard as an underripe apple, but it's got the level of sweetness of a slightly underripe apple. Skin's edible on it, of course. Has got a nice crunch. I was quite surprised there was no seed in it, to be honest. Whenever I've had the Chinese ones that have had seeds, hard-shelled seeds, they have actually had a viable kernel in, but this one, obviously, nothing at all. Be interested to see if the other two have got are exactly the same inside. I find them a very pleasant fruit, but not an overwhelming fruit. A lot of people get very excited about jujubes. but it's not something I'd buy from the local fruit shop all the time, but they're quite refreshing. Again, usual problem, probably they get picked a little bit immature from the tree before shipping, so of course what we get here hasn't been on the tree long enough for the sugars to go into the fruit. There won't be a problem with the climate where it's growing, so it won't be lack of heat like we get here, but an interesting fruit to try. I'm hoping eventually that I will get some jujubes off my own tree. I know my friend Joe is starting to get quite decent jujubes each year from his in-ground tree, and I think the key is to have them in ground so that they get the extra vigour that it needs to develop the fruit. I think the problem with mine being in containers is the roots are restricted and they don't put enough energy into the fruit production. Not bad at all. So that's an Indian or Thai jujube. We've been sourced from India, that's why they called it an Indian one. I'm pretty sure, as I said, it's Zizyphus Mauritiana. And worth trying, but not an overwhelming fruit, but a pleasant fruit. It's just not something you can easily come by. I had to buy that from myexoticfruit.com. Thanks for watching the video. Please give me a big thumbs up. Share the video if you think anybody would like to see that tasting. Please subscribe to my channel, and remember, you must click on the bell if you want to know when new videos come out. I'll see you on the next video. Brett out for now.